I want to talk to you about a topic that keeps coming up in my career as a PM, and it's related to the relationship between the engineering team and the product team. Maybe coming back from a networking event after work, PM would ask me, hey, what is it? How do you make your engineers want to work with you? And I said, I don't do anything special. They're like, no, but everyone can feel that your engineers want to work with you. Today, the idea is that I explain to you some of those points, and perhaps they'll be able to help you in your career. And if they don't, but you know something else that I didn't mention that was good for you, please mention it in the comments so someone else can use this for their career. How do you build a good relationship between product manager and engineering team? I've made a list of 11 points. The 11th one is the most important one. So you can go straight to that one, or you can listen to the rest as well. If you're an engineer watching this and you disagree with some of the tips that I'm giving, feel free to write it in the comments. Number 1, be curious about your team. The engineers that are working with you are not your employees. You need to understand that they are choosing to work with you. And yes, they are choosing because they have the option to go to another company that offers to pay them a little bit more, or to talk to whoever in the engineering department to say, hey, I'm providing this value in this company. I cannot stand this PM. Please change my team. So they can do that, and they are still choosing to be working with you. Even in a situation where you know that you're not their ideal PM, think of it as if you were, because you want to feel confident in what it is that you're doing. You want to be in an environment where you feel like you're being welcomed. This will also change the energy of the room that you're coming into. We all had situations where we are not fully welcomed, even from day one, and you can feel it. So just pretend as if you were welcomed. And eventually, maybe the team will get used to the fact that you feel welcomed. The engineering team might not understand your interests or your background. However, they decided to trust you and follow your leadership into what the product should become. Initially, trust is expected, right? What if instead of expecting it, you could build that trust? You can build trust by getting to know your team. Like, get to know your engineers. Find out what they like. Find out what annoys them. With the stuff that they like, bring more of it. With the stuff that annoys them, try to get rid of it. Try to find ways to make their life better. If they have a particular interest about something, engage with it. Ask them more about it. Number 2, listen to your team. If your engineers have a topic that they're concerned about, listen to them. Don't just brush it off because you don't understand what they're talking about. This is a common thing. Take a moment and ask your engineer, hey, is this what you mean? Did I understand this correctly? Is this what you're trying to say? And look, we don't have solutions for everything, right? If you don't know how to address it, just ask them, what could I do so that this is a little bit easier for you? What would give you a peace of mind? What suggestion do you have for this to become better? This will make them feel like you're listening to them. Number 3, your engineering team comes before your stakeholders. Yes, I said it. Sorry, stakeholders. In an ideal world, you've made all the work to understand whether there's a user problem, what are the requirements that you need from the stakeholders, what are the requirements that you need to do from the product side. So when it comes to the conversations and you need to decide who you side with, always side with your engineering team. If you agreed on this and that, and the stakeholders are bringing up new topics, and the engineers say, hey, if we actually do this, we are going to increase the complexity because of this, that, and that. If they are not happy with that, just push back. Say, hey, I would love to help you. However, we agreed on this. What we can do is do this initially, and then once we have that, we do another iteration. Also, very important, don't ever let a stakeholder minimize the value of your engineering team. You need to have your engineering team in a pedestal. They are the best thing that happens to you since sliced bread. So whenever you talk to stakeholders and they say, oh yeah, the engineers are not so good because there was this bug and blah, blah, say, stop right there. Respectfully, you cannot talk about my engineers like that. I can understand that you're frustrated about a feature, about a bug, about whatever it is that you can think of. However, if there was an issue, it is a problem of communication between you and me, not the engineers. So let's put them aside. It really bothers me if anyone talks in any funny way about their work, so please don't do it in front of me or in front of others. It is important to take a stand in who is important for you, and your engineering team should always be your main priority. Number 4, communicate your plan. When you prepare a roadmap, it's not only for you to communicate with management and with the different stakeholders. It's also to communicate with your engineering team. It is intimidating to present your plan to people that you think so highly of. You're like, oh my God, they're so smart. For sure they are going to find something that is wrong with my plan. It doesn't matter. Let them. Be curious about it. They find something wrong, ask, oh, why do you think this is wrong? Is there any suggestion? What do you think could make this better? That is what you do. You don't become become defensive. If they have something that they worry about, take some pride in it. It means they're putting in the effort. 5. Don't act entitled. Sadly, I've seen some product managers who think so greatly of themselves and they see engineering as the executing hand to what it is that they want to do. They think the world turns around them. They forgot all about the solar system. And sometimes say how great their ideas are, but how engineers cannot keep up with them or don't understand what they say. Let's set the facts straight. Even if it's out of probability, people in the engineering team are going to be much more intelligent than you. If at some point you say something and they are not responding or they are not reacting, it is not because they don't understand what you're saying. In many situations, they just don't want to correct you in front of everyone and make you feel silly. So instead, they are choosing the path of, okay, nothing to say, and they just stay silent. Most of the engineers you'll ever work with approach life and work with curiosity. Just forget this idea that you're special, because you're not. Regardless of which company you're in, regardless of your seniority, regardless of what you do, you're not special. You're just one more. The fact that you have more responsibility than others doesn't mean that you are more than others. Think of yourself as one more piece of the puzzle. This will change your mindset. It will allow you to see the team from the value that they deliver instead of putting them against some expectation of what it is that they should do based on who you are. Number 6, be flexible. If a team thinks that they cannot deliver a feature because there are upcoming problems, don't say, hey, this is what was in the ticket, we cannot go any other way. No, just be flexible, be open, say, oh, why do you think we cannot deliver this? What worries you about it? And just make sure that you change the scope of the ticket to what it is that they said could be the most optimal solution. Then you go to the stakeholders and you say, hey, we're not going to be able to deliver this and this because we've encountered some problems. Stakeholders have no issue with it as long as you communicate. Allow them to reflect and to take back decisions. Consider their thoughts. Same thing applies to the way of working. If you arrive to an engineering team, rather than proposing new tools or new ways of doing things or new ways of conducting everything, first sit there, listen, observe, and make notes on the things that you think could improve the meetings, and then propose the changes later on when you've already tried it their way. When you've tried it their way and you see, hey, this is still not working because of this and that, then you start proposing changes. But until then, just make an effort. 7. Praise their successes, own their mistakes. If you ever deliver something, if you release something, go live and it's a success, everyone loves it, give the merit to the engineering team. It is not your merit. As a leader, you're there to make the engineering team's work shine. It is your responsibility to make them work in the right direction. In the many situations where I've been congratulated about my work, I always say, hey, this wasn't me. This was the engineering team and the designer, or the engineering team, the designer, the data person, whoever it was. It is the engineering team's celebration, not yours. If there's ever an issue, own up to it. I've heard some people saying, oh yeah, the engineers couldn't do this and that. Please forget about that. Instead, say, hey, yeah, there was an issue, it was my fault. I didn't take this into consideration. I didn't write this in the ticket. I didn't negotiate this with the stakeholders. I never responded to this question by the engineers. Just make sure you own up to the mistakes, because yes, as a leader of the product, you are responsible for the problems. The success belongs to the team. The problems belong to you and me as PMs. If something bad happened, you'll discuss it with the engineering team. You'll do a post-mortem or some session where you share the learnings of what happened. You don't need to tell anyone from any other team, from any stakeholder, from anyone in management. To all of them, it is your fault. Number 8, don't push for deadlines. Even if your stakeholders try to tempt you into saying, when is this going to be done? You're not a project manager, you're a product manager, for God's sake. You don't need to talk about deadlines. If an engineer helps you doing estimations for your prioritization matrix or for whatever prioritization you're doing, don't hold them accountable. Don't use those time frames to determine the amount of time that something is going to take. Instead, tell stakeholders, hey, we're gonna start working on this sprint, and we don't know how long it's going to take. However, here you have a view of Confluence with the epic that contains all the tickets. Here you can track the progress of how things are going. If you have any additional questions, I'm happy to provide input, but you don't need to tell them it's going to be done by this date. At least I never do that. Number 9, create a safe environment. Your leadership skills won't be measured by the good moments. Instead, they will be measured by the moments where things go wrong. If an engineer in your team is not doing well, help them. If they're working on presentations and you know that they're bad at it, help them. I had a situation where once I arrived into a company and an engineer was about to be fired. They were almost facing the door, and when I was checking with other people, it was clear that that was the situation. They were a really good engineer. I achieved a lot of milestones in a very short time, and it wouldn't have happened without that engineer. So I started doing PR crisis management. I started talking to everyone, engineering manager, engineering director, to everyone who was important, to everyone who wasn't important, to everyone in the team, to everyone on public channels. I started telling everyone how this engineer was great, how this engineer was doing a heck of a job. It was important for me that they got the recognition of what they did, because the whole merit of what happened was thanks to them. I even talked to the founders and said, hey, this engineer made a whole difference. Nothing of this would have happened if they weren't here. For this to succeed, they need to be here in the long term. They turned from being the engineer that was going to be fired to being the engineer that got promoted. They did not only get promoted, they became the most valuable engineer in the whole organization. Use your influence to help your team. Always have a focus of helping everyone in the organization. It's about everyone working together, not about you, your team, or whatever. Help anyone you can so that you're bringing up success in the company. Number 10, create a sense of belonging. This sounds random, right? Because work is work, and what should I care about the team belonging or not? As humans, we all want to belong. Some cases we just fit in, but in other cases we get to belong, and it's a really nice feeling. What if you could create this environment where your team, no matter what their personality is like, no matter how quirky they are, they feel like they're at home. They feel like you're taking care of them, that you appreciate them for who they are. Quite a nice feeling, isn't it? If anyone in your team is slightly awkward, embrace it. People should feel like they are part of the team, and they should feel that even if they are not there one day, they are still part of the team. If an engineer takes a sick leave or they go on a holiday, don't just take their work and give it to someone else. Please don't do that. Instead, have an agreement, have a conversation when you start working with all the engineers and say, hey, what are we going to do if there's a vacation, if there's a holiday, if there's a sick leave? Who can take over the work? Is it optional? Does it turn into an open ticket? What do we do? And then you decide how it is that you're going to approach the problem, but you don't do it behind their back. If you have a very introverted engineer and they don't want to come to the office and instead work from home, let them. It doesn't matter. Just share with them how you would like them to be there, but they don't have to. If they decide to come, welcome them with open arms. Don't say something like, oh, today you're coming, huh? Instead, be happy that they came. Praise the fact that they came. Make them feel welcome. Make them feel like they are always welcome to come again. Number 11. This is the most important topic out of all, as I said at the start. Be yourself. Nothing is more awkward than seeing someone behave in a way that is not natural to them. It's awkward for them, it's awkward for everyone else. Everyone can feel that you're putting up a facade or some kind of mask and pretending you are someone you're not. Just embrace how you are, be yourself. I've been super awkward at times, and well, maybe the engineers I was working with were very forgiving. But I would like to think that it allowed them to think that it was okay to be themselves. Just, take some joy in the way that you are. Accept the way that you do things and let them know that it's okay to be themselves as well. Kind of reinforces the idea of this safe environment. This will reflect in confidence. So it's not about doing things in a specific way where a company does them. Obviously, if being yourself means that people are gonna tell you you're a douche, maybe don't be yourself so much. When I'm talking about being yourself, I just mean be natural. Don't use the excuse of saying this is me to treat your colleagues in a disrespectful manner. If you enjoyed the content, feel free to like it or share it. And if you want to watch more stuff like this, just subscribe. Thanks a lot and have a nice day.